everyone, Wanderbots here, and finally, welcome back to some more Library of Ruina. It took us a while. June's always kind of a tough month for us. We had family visiting. And also it's summer. Yeah, we're going outside a lot. We're gonna be like swimming pretty much every day. Well, maybe not every day, every nice day. And boy, let me tell you, that really messes with your work schedule as a person. And so a lot of like secondary stuff kind of gets pushed to the side. So I think this is the one where we're gonna fight the puppets. So we've got 2 banked fights.
Wait, but that's Tamari.
Yeah, but remember, there was the puppet master that had actually been running the whole thing, and that he went after the rich people that were in stasis in the train.
Ah, okay. And you've been doing some tweaking.
Yeah.
At least with the composition of your decks.
Okay. I'm just thinking about this train invitation thing. Yeah, so we've already read all this dialogue, so we don't need to do it again.
Okay.
But what I was wondering is, for the people in the real world, like outside of this weird infinite time vortex, would they have arrived at this point?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this is unnecessary. Okay, which character? It was...
Or is this guy just existing in the train? I don't know.
Oh, we've got 3 acts? And I got drubbed. Oh no. Okay, do I even have...
You'd have to have, what, 3 groups of folks to fight them?
Yeah, and I only have... Oh no.
Are you sure you don't want to do a different mission?
Let me take a look at the other one. So the problem was I effectively created a really strong combo that could...
Fight the puppets?
Fight things, but... to do that, I had to take some some setups from other floors. Mm-hmm. Yeah, floors available too. I can almost swing that.
Oh, so what you're saying is that you don't have that many floors to fight?
Yeah, I only have like 2 floors that are really fully capable of fighting things.
Why? What happened to the others?
I used them to equip pages onto these characters to make them extra strong.
Oh.
And so they might be able to solo it? It would be the hope, but...
And these are the sweepers.
Yeah.
Lost against them another time.
Yeah. Oh, boy. And did we burn both of these? I think we did. Yeah, I've got a couple of setups I could possibly do.
There's something going on in Gabura's floor, but I don't know what that is. Well, is that a monster?
Yeah, remember Red Riding Hood and the wolf.
Oh, and
yeah,
that one was a... Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to take like 5 minutes. I'm going to quickly rebuild like 2 more floors worth of character builds. Mm-hmm. They might not be perfect, but
just so that you have 4 available?
Yeah, 3 available is really what I need. Because what we want is 1 mainliner floor that can clear most things on their own, and then 2 more that can kind of finish, like mop up. Okay, so let's try that again. Book of Tamari, send invitation. So I've got a bunch of different builds that can maybe handle things, maybe. So last time we did this, we were up against a bunch of puppets. Ooh, Gigig is actually pretty good on use, restore to light. And then they also have blunt dice power, which is going to be very helpful for certain crews. So they're weak to slashing damage.
It seems like some of your floors have 4 characters rather than 3.
Yeah, so some characters have 4, some have 3. So let's swap to this other Dante, I think. Because, yeah, he does a bunch of slash damage, too. But the pages are all more... What? Combat bookshelf, there we go. Load, page, protection, support, import. There we go. I just wanted to make sure he had the right build. So I think these characters are fairly good on slash. Let me make sure my other floors are together. So brawl
puppets are weak to slash. Probably snipping their strings or their threads, right?
Probably, yeah. This group is not ready for combat, and these guys are really ready for combat. Okay, so I've got 3 functional floors that can fight. We'll start with this one. We'll see how it goes. So Bamboo Hatted Kim, Tenma and Valentine should do a decent amount. I might have to poke at some of these to make them a little bit better, but I think at the very least I should be able to beat the puppets now. I hope. Let's see.
Grr, 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 grr,
grr. Yeah. All right. So, right. I got to turn these on. Let's turn quick mode off at least for a little while. So yeah, I think I'm better at this game now, but obviously it has taken some doing to get there. Let's see. So their first hit is a 3-6. The second hit is a 3-6. So ideally I'm shooting for higher than that if I can manage. Might as well go for that. And let me guess, doing the exact same thing? Yeah. We could just also eat the damage. I think I'll just eat the damage. It's not always worth clashing with an enemy. So for example, these also do a lot more blunt damage. And so if I can't viably beat them in a clash, it's actually better that I just don't. And just rip one to bits. At least as much as I possibly can. Nope.
Something wrong?
I changed the target of an enemy by accident.
Yeah, a lot of characters are targeting them now.
Yep. Let's see.
The Piper character.
Yeah. I don't quite have enough juice. It's probably better. Ooh. Do we just do crack of dawn, hope for the best? Sure. Okay, and what do we do with this one? Oh, actually, they're a fine enough interceptor in retrospect. And then I'll just do extract fuel. I want to see if I can take out one puppet at a time. So let's see how it goes. So, didn't get the clash. Good enough. Oh!
Max damage.
Wow,
what?
Those are very weak to slash damage. Not... Yeah, I think that was my problem the last time I fought the puppets. I was not slashing particularly hard.
What do you feel about that in games, just when there's type weaknesses?
I think it depends on the game. I think it works really well if you've got a very good tactical setup that you can work with.
Because I remember back in older games, nothing felt better than, you know, being a fire opponent and being able to melt ice opponents or something like that, because you knew that there was that type advantage. But I suppose on the flip side, there are also situations where you have built a team up and maybe you're in a gauntlet, or maybe you're in something that you couldn't necessarily prepare for, and you have to make sure that the group could handle an instance where your opponents are, you know, suddenly they're using water against your fire, and you go, ooh, well, now I'm at a type disadvantage. Do you understand what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I suppose when we were kids, Pokemon kind of prepared you for that when it came to, well, the gyms were always just so single note, you know?
Yeah.
So you could probably have like one of the strongest members of your team just plow through everything, sometimes even regardless of type. But definitely doing the league at the very end, you had to make sure that you had an even spread. Something that could address each of your opponents. And the thing about it, though, is character type, you could also have a kind of a different character type, but still able to utilize movesets from other types.
Yeah.
So it's not as though you're always relegated to...
In Pokemon, at least, there was stab bonuses, which was not quite...
When did they add those?
It's same type attack bonus. Effectively, if you're a fire type using a fire move, you do twice as much damage.
That must have been added later then, right?
I don't think so.
Because I thought things used to be the more simple equation of just 50% less or 100%, you know what I mean? Or 100% more damage depending on what the type of the creature you're attacking is compared to your attack.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it. It's been a while since I paid.
Well, also, I missed out on all the games in the middle.
Yeah.
So it could very well have been introduced in one of those. I never got a Game Boy Advance.
Let's see, what else can I do?
Just completely missed that whole generation of handhelds.
Now you got one.
Huh?
Now you have one if you really want to
go back.
I'm actually surprised that they haven't been re-releasing the old Game Boy Advance Pokemon games on Nintendo Switch Online.
They want to remake them instead.
I can't fully fault them for that.
I think there should always be an original version, though. And at this point, they can be played on the Switch. The Switch has the same controls.
Yep.
It is a handheld, essentially.
Go with that one. And you. All right.
I suppose the one thing they'd have to account for... Nah, that didn't really emerge until the DS era, where you had 2 screens.
Yeah.
Though, feasibly,
Nope.
couldn't you just port DS games so that the bottom screen is just a menu that you bring up every once in a while?
Yeah.
Because when I was playing Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on the DS, I had played the original ones on the Nintendo 64 growing up, so it was like, yeah, it'd be nice to get the DS versions, and not only so that it's handheld, but I think what they did was they may have touched up some of the character faces.
Yeah.
It wasn't a full remaster. I think they just remastered some of it aesthetically. But yeah, as far as I recall, most of the action is still occurring on the top screen.
Yep.
It's really just a menu on the bottom.
I liked the idea of the dual screen system, but in actuality, most of the time it wasn't that exciting. All right, so we've made it to round 2. This time we have harder puppets. They have like weird growths on their faces. Speed is higher, do more stagger with attacks. And then they also have automated movement, which has a counter die, which I want actually. That looks really good. Let's see.
Did you ever have any puppets when you were little?
Puppets? No.
Well, I mean, there's hand puppets, and then there's string puppets, and then there's finger puppets,
Yeah.
and sock puppets. You didn't do any of them?
Nope. Not really.
No? I have a really good sock puppet that I made at home. It was a wolf. With the nice eyes and I markered it just so. Sewn on some ears. As for other puppets, we did have those. You've probably seen them at outdoor fairs.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen the ones where it's the traditional cross of wood with the strings coming down, but they look like birds or dragons?
Maybe?
Well, essentially what it is the left and the right one control a foot.
Yeah.
The front one controls the head, and then the middle anchors the body. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And I actually think those are fairly effective compared to, say, humanoid puppets, because you can actually make them look like they're running around, and you can do a lot with their heads and stuff. And they usually have kind of like a nylon rope in between.
Yeah.
We might still have mine at my parents'. One of the strings snapped, but it's just fishing line. I could probably fix it. But what you would have is you'd have the body, the head, and the feet made of wood. And you could paint them, put eyes on them, feathers of that sort.
Yeah, I don't know, but most of my toys, I want to say we pulled mostly from like thrift shops and like secondhand stores, or like really small things. I had a couple of Transformers. Those were new. But yeah, most of my action figures I think we just got from like swap shoppy kind of deals because my parents are my parents.
We still have pretty much all my toys at home. Go through them. Yeah, a lot of Transformers. Some Power Rangers stuff. Pokemon, Bionicle. You had Bionicle, of course.
Yeah.
The Throwbots, or whatever they were called, that came out before Bionicle, that were also by Technics. They
yeah,
had
with
those.
the like
They had the arm.
disc. Yeah, I think that was the thing. Most of my toys were Legos. That my parents very much wanted
Things you could build.
things that I could build. I think the other big benefit, especially for Lego, was just the infinite replayability. I mean, that's true of all toys, but like Legos are kind of configurable in any fashion that you want. Let's see.
Oddly enough, I think we may have gotten more Mega Bloks than Legos growing up, and I know that Mega Bloks doesn't fit together as nicely as Legos and stuff. They just had some really nicely sculpted figurines sometimes. So we had, say, the dragon sets with the big dragons.
Sorry, I'm slightly focused.
Nope, that's okay. And then we both happen to have the same alien Mega Block set.
Yes. Yeah, the big one.
Yeah, the weird. It's that spaceship that has the two circles. Well, you would open them up. They had like a spacewalk between them, and it was some kind of pterodactyl-y looking pirate captain that had cyborg pieces attached to him, and he had 4 arms. And then he had these 3 goons that were with him, one red, one purple, and one green. And they all had 4 legs. 2 of them had the same heads. The last one was a little bit different. The red one was kind of brainy. I don't know if you played them in juxtaposition with humans. We never got the human space fighter sets.
Yeah. I don't know. I never felt the need. It seemed very okay. The alien set was just so much cooler, I think, is the answer.
Yeah. We always gave the pterodactyl guy I think kind of a deep, raspy voice. Prepare the laser cannons.
I never did a whole lot of roleplay with any of my toys.
Why? That's the whole point of them.
Honestly, I was just like building things and building other things and like, kind of running around with them, but I don't think I was ever adding characters or story or voices.
Oh, really?
I also was playing Legos largely in a solitary fashion.
Yeah, you see, I'd play with my brother, and then we also had, our friends or family members, our cousins and such. So sometimes we'd be like, okay, what do we want to play today? And it would either be, Star Wars, castles, kind of like westerns and stuff. And so we'd bring out our Playmobiles or our Mega Bloks or whatever sets that went together. And we would build up the sets, choose what characters we wanted to portray, and then just do kind of off the cuff role playing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, with our Playmobil castle set, there was the princess, the king, the knight, the Robin Hood character, the Dark Knight. And then we also had a farmer and some animals and such. The horses, of course.
The horse, of course.
Yeah, and some of our cousins are just like, yeah, I'll be the horse. And the horse actually had a personality. Maybe they could talk if they were magically inclined. I don't think we had a unicorn. That would have actually been really cool if we had a unicorn character. Uh-oh, what's happening?
We're fine.
Oh, is that the Ash girl or?
No, it was something about the fairies.
Oh, the fairies.
I have an ability, or...
No, it's coming to you who will be reduced to ash.
Yeah, so effectively, if any of my characters fall below 30% HP, they explode and do a bunch of damage.
Ooh.
The thing is, like, this team is almost full health. Like, this combo...
Yeah, you've been doing well.
This combo worked way better than expected, which I've been very happy with. And so I am going to beat the absolute snap out of this sucker. We've also got, if you notice, the music has changed. We've hit like the heightened emotions phase. So we get a bunch of extra dice.
Oh, okay.
That we can use.
Yeah, but each of them has 3 at their disposal.
Yep. Oh, it's only these 2. Oh, because they go faster. Whatever.
Yeah, the thing about the Mega Bloks Dragon set was that they had these 2 warring armies, and one was clearly villainous and the other one was more noble. But there was not a single female character.
Of course not.
It was just
Legos were for boys.
Well, no, this is Mega Bloks, but yeah,
I mean, tomato, Lego.
And so I think that's why when I was a kid... Oh.
Lego Lago?
Oh, there it goes.
Yep.
That's
so now it's the big puppets.
Ooh, well, you know, those are really creepy looking. Can you go back to that one? Yeah. Look at the armor and I don't know what's going on with the bottom. Is that supposed to be tendrils or intestines?
Yeah, it looks kind of like that.
But that's kind of why I liked Playmobiles. Even though they didn't have as many opportunities to customize your builds as other things would, the plastic felt really good. It was really well made, and the characters were larger, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of accessories that were interchangeable, and the yeah, they were just really, really nice. And they did have a lot of female characters too. It was difficult to change out hair, but I think it was possible. Maybe less so. Maybe you'd have to have the helmets. The helmets actually had to fit over the hair oftentimes.
Oh, the Finch is back.
Oh, do you know what's one thing I loved about Playmobiles? And maybe no, they didn't do it with Legos. So with Playmobiles, if you wanted to apply a beard to a character,
yeah,
under the hair there were these little nubbins where the ears would probably be, and so you could snap on and off beards under the hair. And the funny thing is, there was just enough give that the beards could move up and down.
Yeah,
a little. So sometimes when we made our bearded characters talk, we would do the whole like with the beard bobbing up and down.
Yeah.
Okay,
who's targeting him? This one.
Yeah, I'd have to say predominantly when it came to the toys that we had, at least those play sets, the main themes that we had were, you know, medieval castles and fantasy, and then space and sci-fi. We did have an amount of Western stuff too, but you know the commentary that Toy Story had about Westerns being replaced by space operas or space exploration?
Yeah.
Kind of because Westerns were popular in the early 1900s for, you know, film and television and stuff. But yeah, about the time you get to the space race and such, the 1950s and 60s, you start seeing more sci-fi movies and television shows, and that really replaced the interest that young children had. I mean, there were great things too. I mean, you had your various B-movie sci-fi flicks, your Earth versus the Flying...
B-movie?
Well, they called them B-movies.
Sorry.
No, not the B-movie. Don't you dare.
Yeah.
Like, obviously they weren't super blockbusters. I think the super blockbusters of the time were still the really highly produced epics, you know, the Ben-Hurs and stuff, or Cleopatra's. But for sci-fi, you had, them, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, Forbidden Planet, a whole host of things. And then, yeah, the 60s, you have Star Trek and such. It was just a great time for sci-fi. But Westerns fell off the map at that point. But also, you would have to say that like Westerns, the stories became tired and repetitive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You could only have so many, mining towns out in the middle of nowhere being assailed by, the local bandit lord, or having issues with either like land or territorial disputes with Native Americans and such.
Yeah.
And also, it's terrible to think that in some cases they portrayed Native Americans in such a negative light, and then in others you had them, occasionally you would have a character on board who was, a mystic or a shaman or something, and it created a lot of stereotypes too.
Yeah. I think it would be entirely valid to say that the film industry was built in part on extensive exploitation. Kind of across the board, but like stereotypes were easy and...
Well, yeah, and so to me, unfortunately, Westerns seem like an extension of colonialism.
Yeah, I mean...
Because it's essentially all of the cowboys and the encroachment of the United States further and further west.
Yeah.
Into the frontier.
I would say that's entirely valid.
And people like to focus on the lawlessness and the gunfights and the horses and stuff like that, the train chases. But yeah, I can definitely understand why sci-fi ended up becoming the new mainstream.
Because you can use a lot of the same tropes, but I'm not going to say hide it better, but like...
you have things like space westerns.
Yeah.
And you can also have even things from fantasy, the oppressive empire, or not quite monarchy in the same way, though there could be monarchies in science fiction, though usually they're emperors instead. And there's still a lot of colonialism and exploitation and stuff. People are like, oh yes, here's a new planet for us to mine all its resources, and we can colonize it. And there might be aliens there that say, hey, this is our homeworld. What are you doing?
I'm going to toot my own horn and say, I put this together with the expectation that this team was going to get drubbed partway through, and they just carried it home.
Wow.
Even with the suicide bomber buff going on.
Sorry I was chattering so much you couldn't explain your strategies.
No, it's fine. Oh, cool. We got hats.
Oh, you got cool masks.
Yeah. By plot in my video games? Those puppets were conscious somehow, right?
They appeared so. We could resolve books from them, too. Although they didn't have control over their bodies, they still seemed to carry minds of their own. And they had to witness their own bodies being tugged along by strings while their senses and feelings were intact.
Does that mean...
Yes. The puppeteer is a distortion. And those puppets were its byproducts. I've seen several abnormalities that could create underlings for themselves, so I can understand this to be a similar case.
Poor folks, working their asses off only to be treated like dolls.
I could understand their feelings well. After all, I used to be a puppet myself.
Can those puppets be freed, though?
Killing the puppeteer may free them from the attached strings, but they would remain ragged dolls. I must wonder if they'd still want to live in that form.
Yeah, fair enough. Knew it couldn't be that simple. The floor of social sciences, the patron librarian's hest. Chest?
Or is it chesed?
I don't know. Here.
How do you pronounce
pronounce...
Chesed.
Okay. Jewish attribute of grace, kindness, or love. One of the Sephiroth. So it is hesed. Is it the smell of coffee? Hey, Roland. Here, why don't you take a comfy seat and drink some coffee? Oh, hi Hazard. I'm a bit flattered by your hospitality. Gotta show some solidarity with fellow librarian, no? Alright, I guess I'll try my first cup of coffee in a while. Yeah, this is really coffee. You sure it's not spoiled? That's odd. I made sure to brew high-quality Kenya BB.
Wait.
Kenya?
Yeah, I know. They mentioned...
It's the first time they've acknowledged a real world... What?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. So where is this city?
Kenya is the only remaining country. Everything else is a mega city, and then there's Kenya somewhere else. I don't know, it might be a translation thing. I'd love for somebody in the comments to tell us exactly what's going on.
Is this Earth? I mean, apparently it is, but...
Maybe.
Then where is the city?
I know it's supposed to be, like, staggeringly huge. Like,
it
Judge Dredd's level of big.
Swallowed up half of Asia or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe I haven't quite mastered the art of reconstructing materials within the library yet. Why don't you try it yourself? If you'll excuse me. It's a perfectly fine cup of fragment coffee, though. But it's way too bitter. You sure this thing's coffee? This blend is known for being acidic, to be fair. What? Isn't coffee supposed to be a stuffy, bitter drink you can put sugar in? Say, Roland, are you from the back streets? Oh, well, yeah, kinda. I knew it. You gave me the exact same reaction Kali made back when I brewed coffee for her.
Do they have a branded mug?
Yes. Wait, who's Kali? I'm more obsessed with this...
The background?
Street that is melting in the background.
Well, wait a minute. Is this supposed to be underwater or something? Because...
Not a clue.
I don't know if those are supposed to be fish flitting around out there.
It does kind of look like... It almost looks like a sunken ship. Yeah, that's what I was originally thinking. And I was like, but...
That is a really cool aesthetic.
It is really
having
nice.
Windows looking out over sunken ships.
Yeah.
I mean, it reminds me of that one story you were working on.
Yeah. Let's see. Wait. Who's Kali? Oh, it's Kabura. Ever heard of the Red Mist? Boy, it's kind of funny to imagine that the legendary Red Mist made the same expression as mine from drinking some coffee. Her face was priceless, alright. You're talking about your first life, right? Yep, back when we were at a laboratory in the outskirts. Guess things were cheery back then. The mood was upbeat, for a while. It was just a shabby laboratory, situated in a corner of the outskirts, but for me it was cozier than any luxurious place within the city could be. And then tragedy suddenly befalls. I wouldn't say it was sudden, it slowly seeped in, rather. I can get that. I sometimes think that maybe the tragic event that struck me didn't come out of nowhere after all. I was already getting drenched in it. It was doomed to happen from the very beginning. I never really said things went wrong from the start, though. Just talking about my experience. Anyway, the coffee didn't really suit my taste, but I appreciate it. Let's give this work our best shot. You bet. We still have plenty of time, so let's talk things out at our leisure. Kali's now fond of coffee after trying it for some time, so I'm sure you can eventually come to enjoy it, Roland. Well, here's hoping. Floor of Social Sciences. Another floor for me to mostly ignore.
So, see, look at how it has a watery appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, water, fire,
cloud, thorns, books?
Yeah, it looks
City?
like books. Technology.
Technology. Also...
It looks kind of earthy. Like stone.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. So we've got 3 suppressions that we should probably do, but I think I'm going to leave that for later. Let's go deal with these guys next.
Say in the Kurokumo clan?
Well, no, this is the, these guys. Yeah, it's this time. So what are they weak to?
More of the sweepers.
Weak to piercing. That might be a bit of a problem, and we get 2 floors. Who does piercing in my entire lineup? I guess they do. Kind of. Not perfectly, but they do some amount of pierce. Okay, let's just see how this goes. I'm gonna chuck this group in, maybe? Yeah, probably. What do they have? Gain persistence. You know, the other alternative is, I think I might just use the same group first.
Even though they're slash?
Yeah. They still have some pierce. The main thing is they have slightly better sustain, and the other team is stronger. I'd rather use the other team for the harder group. So, okay. I have to remember, when fighting these, when another character dies, recover 20% of max HP at the end of that scene. So, what this means to some degree is that I need to kill them. They also gain persistence, which, if I remember right, is extremely frustrating. I just don't remember what persistence does. Let's see.
Probably allows them to sustain themselves.
Gain persistence. Upon taking lethal damage, 80% chance to revive with some HP, halved every time a character revives. So, effectively...
They're given the chance to revive again.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always occur and eventually runs out.
Yeah, so this is going to be real frustrating. From what I remember.
Piper and Joshua are already damaged, it seems.
Yeah, they come pre-damaged because they were from that group.
Ah, the tired group. Okay.
Yeah, the very tired group, which has some benefits sometimes. Okay, let's just do Feather Shield, and I'll see if I can take that damage. Oh, wait, no. Feather Shield on him.
Yeah. Carl and I, or Wander and I, are not coffee people.
No.
But I can have coffee on occasion if it's mixed with other things. So, say a mocha has a little bit more chocolate in it to drown out the coffee, or if the coffee has other flavorings and is diluted with milk, then it would be a little bit more preferable. And I'm actually really fond of bitter things. I actually have my tea really dark. I oversteep everything. So, yeah, what happens is I just leave the tea bags in my tea, and they just get darker and darker until I get the tea bag out and I go, well, I'll drink down half of it, fill it up with water again, put it back in the microwave, bring it out again, and eventually it starts to dilute back to what it should be. But it's a little bit strong initially. So I'm perfectly fine with bitter teas. Coffee, however, oof, that can be really strong. And I think the last time I had coffee, I couldn't get to sleep very well. And usually I'm fine with caffeine. But then again, coffee has substantially more caffeine than tea, I believe. So... there's that. Also, I never wanted to be one of those people. We frequently heard this from our peers back in college going, oh, I can't function without my coffee. And I go, really? I don't want to be dependent upon coffee. I almost wonder if that's how a lot of coffee shops sustain themselves, having everyone perpetually addicted to coffee. I mean, it's really nice to have drinks of many varieties, whether they be, teas or juices or smoothies or other things. There's just something nice about having it. A drink like that's a treat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everyone can sustain themselves off of water when it comes to liquids. But, there's just so many different mixtures and varieties of drink that you can have.
This is going to hurt a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Who is my chosen target? Probably the front one. What about you?
I also have jasmine tea right now. It's a little bit sharper now. Very grassy.
Go for that. Then do a flash of sun up. I can't.
That's a really interesting thought.
If I do that. Okay.
I was just thinking about how so many of our drinks are derived from plants, whether they be leaves or fruits, things of that nature, nectars, roots, things of that variety. But animal-based drinks, oh gosh. Aside from milk and broth and blood, I don't really know what else you have derived from animals.
Yeah. So, like, you do a lot with milk.
Yeah, you can do a lot with milk. Though it is kind of weird to think about drinking milk. Milk that's intended for their offspring.
Yeah, I used to drink a lot of milk when I was younger, but I don't know.
I was forced to drink milk every single morning. It was always the whole, like, calcium for your bones, which I suppose is pertinent, but you can also acquire an amount of calcium from especially vegetables, right? I suppose the leafy varieties, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, the problem is we largely stopped drinking milk. And even having things like butter, we're getting more plant-based ones. And so going back to the old ones, or the originals, I should say, you kind of taste this sickly sweetness.
Yeah, it tastes gross.
And you also can smell it too. You can smell the animal. Goat products definitely smell like goat. When I was a kid, I used to work around a number of goats, and I love them. Goats are still one of my favorite farm animals. They're just very amicable for the most part. And granted, they're probably half interested in your presence just so that they can try nibbling on your clothes. But I don't know. They seem to like attention. Remember when that one used my leg as a scratching post for its head at the zoo?
Yeah.
That was funny. It didn't have horns anymore. I think it was one of those ones where they had cut them off, but they still had the little nubbins, and it just wanted to scratch. I think the zookeeper was like, "Are you okay with that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine. They're not hurting me or anything. They're just rubbing their head." If you do touch a goat between where its horns are or where the horns would be, they do have a tendency to push against you. So that's a thing to keep note of, is that I don't know if it's instinctual or what, but just the very act of having pressure put against their heads, they feel inclined to push or butt back.
Okay, they've almost gotten rid of their stupid Healy buff. Let's see. Lock that. Lock that.
Kid goats are awfully cute. And they're really light too. Unfortunately, sheep never struck me as very social, at least with people. But then again, that might be how they're kept too.
Yeah.
They tend to stay with the flock out in the fields rather than... Yeah, because I suppose you pretty much just get milk from goats.
Yeah.
Not really wool or anything. They just have fur.
Has to be that one. Ugh.
So how are you doing with the fight?
This is harder than the last one.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. There we go. It's mostly just that you have to kill these guys in order, at least for the first 4 turns.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get over that, then it gets much easier.
And these are the guys that speak solely in numbers, correct?
Yeah. And so, like, I'm in a fairly good position.
Well, this can translated the whole "I'm sorry, dear neighbors."
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe Angela is just doing translation in the background, hanging out with Roland. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I think neither of them have... Yeah, they don't have the buff anymore, so I can just go full ham.
Oh yeah, they each were given a number.
Oh, they got their stupid revival thing back. Rude. Oh, wait, does he have 2 of them? That's obnoxious.
The other guy seems staggered though.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just gonna wail on him. And then my own guy's staggered, but that's not a problem. There. She's been sitting at 1 stagger resist for like 4 rounds now. I've just been managing to keep her from going down. Yeah, goal is to there they go. Now there's just 1 left. And they've got this self-revival thing going on. 80% chance to come back with some HP. But I don't think it's gonna matter.
Yeah, that one didn't come back.
Who's most injured? Her. There we go. Well, this one came back. The other guy didn't because I had staggered him first. I think I might roll the dice a little bit and see if I can have her heal up here. I guess it didn't really matter that much, but we got it. Yeah, I will admit I was actually having some... Oh god, do we have another whole act against the same people?
Yeah, it looks like just sweepers.
No.
Another group of sweepers.
It's fine. Let's keep it going. Either we'll win. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
They are all at 0 currently.
Who? Sorry?
The guys on the left, they have a number.
You mean emotion level 0?
Oh, that's their emotion level.
Yeah, whereas we're emotion level 4.
Oh.
And the higher your emotion level, the better
More effective
the
things are?
Yeah, so we get extra pages to work with, and eventually we get those extra die, which is very helpful. Okay, they're all just kind of... Ooh. Oh, middle one isn't doing the self-revive. Somebody just volunteered to be a victim. Okay, because if one of these characters is not doing the self-revive buff, the 333 1973, that means that I can kill them freely, and they won't do.
And they won't revive.
Yeah, they won't do the really annoying revive thing.
Okay.
I'm just going to chuck every single one of my characters just at the central guy. There we go. I think that's all of my abilities. Oh, we have one more. There we go. Should be good. I think all of my dice are currently engaged. All those arrows get slightly murky after a certain point. And now she heals if it's somebody that's been hurt before, which is extremely helpful because now she's back up to full health.
What is going on? What are
Fairies.
those? Huh?
Fairies are
Oh, the fairies are munching.
Yeah. The fairies have a taste for blood.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. That worked out reasonably well. So now the rest of them have self-revives, but I can make it work. Ooh, she did burn through most of her light though, which is annoying. Actually, this one's looking pretty weak. What about you? Got a fair bit. No high moves. No high moves. And they're doing, combat start. Oh, All dice this player plays lose 2 power for this scene. Aha, you fool. Actually, let's go for the paralysis. That works a little bit better for me. Okay. Store light. Bail on that guy. This guy's going for her. I think she's just going to have to take it. Because, yeah, none of her abilities are particularly strong. So we're just going to rip this one dude to shreds. To shreds, you say? Mm-hmm. You know what? Actually, I'll just do that. I'll have them take the hit since they've got protection anyway. Let's see. Flasher's sun up. There we go. That should be the hit. Actually, if I just... No, I can't. So actually, yeah, I'll have it block that one. Anything else? I just have so many dice and abilities that I have to, like, sort them correctly.
I don't know if it's ever been addressed, but when you use a group, do they gain any kind of experience, or does it matter if you use one group more than others?
Nope. There is no reason to favor one group over the others apart from their capabilities at dealing with, like, you know, defeating enemies and whatnot. Mm-hmm. There they go.
Yeah, that's good, because it'd be woefully bad if you just had a group that you left behind and have to train them up somehow.
I think that would be inevitable. I will admit, I actually would prefer it if there was, like, very minimal RPG mechanics in this game. Just, like, super basic. Let's see. What do we want to do? Oh, maybe that's how we do this. Some really basic RPG mechanics would kind of be nice purely from the perspective of...
You would like the ability to grind over it.
If I need to, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I will always slightly favor games that let me do that if need be. Oh, I guess that's straight up not even going to matter, is it? They're all being blocked. They're just doing an extract fuel. And my character in the back is designed specifically to have better defensive dice. Let's see. So who am I killing? Middle or back guy? But you. I guess let's wail on both. At this point, I'm actually reasonably confident in my ability to just, like, kind of cut through my enemies. Which, like, once again is odd. This game stresses me out because it's one of those where, to go back to the RPG mechanic thing, I like having RPG mechanics as a soft difficulty curve. If you're having trouble on a fight, being able to go elsewhere and, like, grind or get better gear or, you know, go find the secret super powerful weapons or something like that. Just a little bit of that here and there can go so far at making an otherwise difficult game manageable. And so, like, I often will favor games that have RPG mechanics specifically for this reason, so I can, let's see, nothing from you. You got plenty of light. Let's just go slow, because there's no reason for me to go quick here in order to waste my resources. Who are you aiming for? First one for the block? Yeah, there we go. What game was it? I think Hollow Knight, actually, oddly enough, was an example of this. You still there? You're just listening? Yeah.
I'm looking at an area of the screen, and I can't tell if it's splatter from some of the paint that they had around the border or not. We'll have to go to a different screen entirely to see if there isn't. I don't think there's dead pixels, but it's just kind of a dark, just some dark blotches.
Okay. But to finish my thing on Hollow Knight, I like Hollow Knight. It was fun to play, but
Oh, it's actually mirrored on the other side.
it was just hard enough that So it's now Anton and Lila and Valerie. Well,
Oh, were those the guys in the cutscene?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just gonna chuck the same 3 in, seeing as they actually are full health. This team has shockingly good sustain. So which of these is not doing the self-revive? Or are they all doing the self-revive? They are! Scum.
Even the named characters?
Yeah, all of them are. So that means I'm just gonna have to pick a target and wreck it. Ooh, Health Hauler. Recover 2 HP on a successful attack. Ouch. So, Mind Hauler. 2 stagger resist on a successful attack. And Anton. Stagger resist on a successful attack. Okay. What was I going to say? I don't know. Subsequent playthrough of Hollow Knight, I specifically... I used a mod that let me have RPG leveling. And it was actually really nice, purely from the perspective of softening the difficulty curve. Do we want to do this? Yeah. Because the stagger damage persists. The main problem is I don't want to kill them evenly. So who do I want to take out first? I'm assuming all of them are vaguely just as vulnerable. Oh, what if I do Sharpened Blade on him? And then we do Moulinet there. There we go. And then we can just do a Flash of Sun Up. Shouldn't divert it. Perfect. They'll just rip the middle guy to bits.
This is a chaotic web of targets.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only going to get worse over the course of this. Like, by the end of this game, we are going to have a whole...
Up to, what was it, 5 or 6?
Maybe, yeah. I'll save the rest. Yeah, if I can just take one of them out on the first round just by beating the snot out of them, that'll work really well for me. There we go. I remember, like, when we first hit this difficulty tier, I was just like, I don't know if we're ever gonna beat this game. But I guess it was kind of the same vein in Lobotomy Corporation as well. That kind of feeling of like, oh, it's 20% or lower. Yeah, sure, footfalls.
Yeah, see, it is a little match, girl.
Yeah.
With the fire.
Oh, yeah, it is. You are correct. Okay. Go for that. Oh, can I not zap? I cannot zap. Okay, who's our next target? Because they're going down shortly. We'll go after her. She's going after them. I don't think it really matters too deeply. Should be enough. And that's gonna hurt. I'm probably just gonna take that damage. Okay, she's going for that Searing Sword. Hopefully we can kind of parry. If we can't, I don't know, it's fine. It is nice to know that I have a perfectly healthy B team ready to back this group up. If this group somehow manages to go down, but I kind of doubt it. We've hit the point where I think I can actually just beat this game with, you know, with enough time. Okay, did I... Okay, Anton is down. So yeah, we can focus on Lila now. If I could stun her. There we go.
Whoa, what?
What's up?
Did they come back or no?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
But if you notice, the buff is gone. So, ooh, we might actually be able to get 2 kills here. Screw it. Who cares how many hits I take?
Well, it depends on if there's any more in the sequence, or is this the final battle?
This is the final battle.
Ah, yeah.
She's probably going down. Yeah, if I can take both of them out, it's unlikely considering they have the heal 20%. But here's the question. Did that heal her? No, it didn't. That's good. So when they get the when a character dies, gain 20% of health back. I was afraid that would trigger on one of their characters quote-unquote dying, but then immediately self-reviving. But it didn't happen, which is great. Damn it, he's giving himself the self-revive. Whatever. Let's see. Ouch. Rakadon, who's you? You're not allowed to do that. Not in this house. Let's see. Going for her. I guess we'll spread the damage a little bit, because they don't get it all back.
It's the only one of the named characters left and 2 of the mooks.
Yep. Yeah, so if I can take out the named characters, that works better for me. Unfortunately, that all-out blitz did deplete most of my spare cards, but I'll be fine. Ow. But even though it depleted my cards, my characters are still very healthy. I don't think any of them are like even below half health, which is pleasantly...
Now, by depleted your cards, are they gone forever? Or is
no, it's just you can see the little hexes above them and the cards. So effectively, I need to draw more. See, they're just doing that. Oh, but we don't have enough juice anyway. Even if I wanted to. So here's the question: can I switch? Oh, it has to be either of those. Ick. Let's just get rid of Zap then. I don't think I'm going to be able to block that. Can't do Sunset Blade. Yeah, we'll be fine. And again, we've already taken out most of their named characters, so it's just a matter of finishing them off slowly. Hopefully he'll just burn to death. If we
Valerie,
don't take him
you
out
mean?
right here. There we go. Oh yeah, it was Valerie. Sorry. I forgot it was Valerie that was still alive as opposed to Anton.
Wasn't Anton the big guy?
No.
Or no,
that was
another
Lila.
small one. Lila's the large one. Ah. And what was their story? That are those bodies their own, or are they juiced
Sort
up
of.
on something?
I think, so I think the lore is they're just goo in those suits.
Oh, they've been reduced to goo. Oh gosh, but a thinking goo?
Yeah. Due to, there was like a queen or a mother.
Yeah, there's a mother, a hive-mindy thing, potentially.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I remember about them. I'd like to read the lore for a lot of these things, but...
Well, it may have, but it would have been weeks ago.
Yeah, sort of. The main thing is like the wikis are very thorough. The problem is they're so thorough that I would 100% spoil like a ton of things for myself. So I'll just have to leave that for later. Let's just finish him off. I don't think he's surviving this amount of damage. Even with the self-revive. Oh. Yeah, let's just turn quick mode on. I don't think I need it anymore. I think at this point I fully understand how this game works. And we can just leave quick mode on as default.
Victory!
Whew. That took some doing.
Look at all those characters you had to plow through.
It was a lot. I need some AoEs. That would help a lot. Boy, that was exhausting. Those sweepers sure are persistent.
I mean, it is in their trait names, right?
Y'all.
What kind of deal could have made them so desperate, I wonder?
The most I can tell is that the sweepers are losing their ground, so they tried to make a deal to do something about it.
Could we get to know more?
No idea. Maybe the invitation will show us the answer eventually. You seem to be weirdly fixed on the sweepers, by the way. What's up with that?
Something about them smelled suspicious.
They do have an awful smell, I'll give you that. Take a sniff of those filthy bandages and your appetites. Ugh.
Are you insane?
Sheesh, can't even crack a joke. Well, anyway, this is the first time our Miss Library Director let her intuition speak so much. I guess it won't hurt to keep an eye on this case. Alright, you know what? We've got some books. Books. Yeah. Right, we've got a couple. Did we read the sweeper backstory?
I think you may have just gotten this.
Oh, you know what? I think we did read that, but you know what we do have?
Some of the new books.
Yeah. Wait.
Valerie, wait, so we don't have Lila or Anton?
Uh-oh. Am I gonna have to do that again? I don't want that.
RNG?
I'll have to check.
And also, you don't know if Valerie, Anton, and Lila just give the same books or the same
they could.
cards.
Sometimes they do, at least. So I'll have to check. You can check by sending the invitation. It'll tell you what books you can potentially get. Not that it's like so bad for me to have to do those again, but it's like each fight is half an hour, give or take. It takes some doing. I almost kind of wish this was an auto battler.
But then it would just show you.
I guess it's one of those where it's like I've really gotten
you had played the Overlord, Unicorn Overlord, and you could see the outcome of the match before even entering it.
Yeah.
That kind of thing?
Yeah. I think for me,
but then that takes away the fun of choosing what moves you're doing.
It's more about, well, but you're still programming them so you know what move they're going to be doing. Like if you noticed, I am just enacting a basic set of criteria. Oh, if their attack is too big and I cannot parry it, use an attack on somebody else. Or, hey, this target needs to get burnt down or something like that. You could program these tactics into a game so it plays itself. And I recognize this as like, well, then why play the game? But the point is, if I'm the one that has to come up with those strategies, it's satisfying because it's then a test of, was my strategy good? As opposed to, was my strategy good and then my act of going through that strategy or acting it out? I don't know. It's okay. Yep. So there's 2 whole books that we didn't get there. That sucks. All right. What about the other side? Okay, so we got all the books from this one at least. Yeah, because Book of a Weighty Puppet.
More puppets.
Yeah. Oh, I guess this is the Weighty Puppet. There is no Book of a Nimble Puppet. So yeah, I'll have to do those off camera. I'm not actually sure what they give us, but at least we've got some more pages to mess around with. So specifically, the main thing that I can do if we want to... How do we mess with characters again?
Looks like there's a book that we still have to acquire for the technological sciences.
Yeah, so now we have... Inflict 1 Disarm. So I have a bunch of really good blunt... blunt cards to throw into this mix. Yeah, 2 haste next scene, clash win, 2 power to the next die, and then also high level acrobatics when using a page whose original cost is 3 or higher, all die on that page gain +1 power. So to some degree we want to kind of just load them up a little bit. I'll have to look at what works well on this. What is overthrow? No, that's slash. We ain't doing that. Oh, and Puppet Blockade is just straight up better than Loosen Up at this point. Sorry, I got a bunch of new cards and I'm excited about it finally.
Yeah.
That's also Gig. Oh gosh, Gig is also good.
New combinations.
I think the only.
Would you say that deck builders are one of your favorite?
Oh, 100%.
Modes of gameplay?
Yes, I love deck builders. There's so much.
Does this come from a background of like board games and card games having that deck building element, or what do you think?
Okay, forceful gesture versus animated movement. That one's tough. Sure, I'll do 2 of those.
Do you know why I think it works? So there's more variety of moves, correct?
Yeah.
And the RNG is in what you draw, as opposed to dice rolls and other things, correct?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about, once again, I suppose that we were talking about Pokemon before. In the context of Pokemon, it's just you have 4 moves at your disposal and that's it. You know, what combination of moves. And then more of the maneuvering is in what Pokemon do you bring out and what moves do you do and when. Whereas with deck builders and such, yeah, there is that greater deck size, hand size, RNG, and there's the feeling of customization that you don't have with many other games. I mean, I suppose with, say, MMOs or an action fighter or something, you might be able to swap out skills and abilities on your, you know, your keyboard bar or whatever you're going to be using to conduct your abilities. Maybe in an action adventure game, especially if it's more RPG related and you have stats and stuff, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to, you know, adjust my character so they're a little bit tougher. Maybe they do fire damage more often. You know, I'm going to choose these moves that complement this build. But deck builders, I would say, are... I wouldn't say that they're more structured, but...
In my mind, they're more dynamic. That there's so much more that you can do with deck builders on a, like, what is your build level? Because in Pokemon, you only have 4 moves, and those moves generally don't interact with each other. They might.
I mean, you might have one creature do Rain Dance, and then you bring out your water type, and they are suddenly empowered, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But... And I suppose, too, you know, you have the tactical fighters where there might be bonuses depending upon positioning. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then part of action adventure is also just the dexterous skill of the player as well.
Yeah.
And the buttons and the combos they're able to pull off. So I think the thing about deck builders is that they don't rely on the dexterity. You know, it's still largely turn-based and stuff. So it's not like the action adventure with the different abilities on your skills or your bars or your stats. I suppose you don't have a party. You don't have the positioning that you would with other games. Though I'm sure there are people that mix genres. I would say that the deck building aspect is a more mechanical subset of performing abilities as opposed to a presentation and stuff, because you can most definitely have a deck builder where you also have a party and maybe they're required to use abilities. Because there are also some deck builders where it's multiple cards have to be used to bring about an ability.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it's every card is an ability. Because there are some games where the cards are more resources for existing abilities than they are the abilities themselves. I don't know. Interesting to think of. And then, of course, cards being as easy as they are to print and manufacture for many companies, it allows them to just create a breadth of choices, and that's why you have trading card games that are decades old and just have thousands of entries into the space. Though, I think I prefer some of the games where you either have structured decks or a limited pool of cards, particularly for the board game card games, because then it doesn't feel like you're constantly buying cards to keep up with the newest and the best.
I think I like living card games or non-RNG based ones. So I like the idea of Summoner Wars or the Arkham Horror LCG, where you know exactly what you're getting when you buy it, and it's not like one player can just outspend the others.
Well, also to an extent, I would say that with this game, let's go say every character was a character in a cooperative sense.
Yeah.
They each have their own little deck of cards, and they're each working together in tandem.
I mean, that is
in fights
what
and
it is,
stuff.
kind of.
Right. So what I'm saying is that looking at things like Arkham, that's cooperative.
Yeah.
And Summoner Wars is still one versus one, but it also adds the element of you have the deck that's built, but then also the positioning.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think for the most part, deck building, the fun is in creating something that's synergistic and unique to you, and then also
it's build making. It's
a build.
Deck building, yeah, but it's build making specifically. One of my favorite RPGs ever made is Monster Sanctuary, which is a monster collection game, to go back to Pokemon. And yeah, you only have a certain amount of moves, but you have these massive talent trees that you can only fill out maybe half of them.
Oh.
And so you have to be very selective about what perks you pick. And
wait, so is this the RPG kind of perk layer?
Yeah.
So can you have a character that's, I'm spec'd a bit more into fire damage, and then you have cards that do fire damage and they get buffed because of that particular character's
and then you have another
stats?
monster that is like, I spit oil at things, and now all fire damage in my vicinity is twice as strong. And you like really hone in on this one idea. And that's, I think, why Ruina works so well, is because you can hone in on one idea and make it work incredibly well. But I will say we should probably leave this topic for the next episode.
Yeah.
So for now,
that's fine.
Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.